guys, how are you doing? You're welcome to the Princess Amarachi show. And of course, my name is Princess Amarachi. Yes, here on Princess Amarachi show, we discuss everything that affects our everyday growth. Think of any topic, think of any idea, think of any angle or perspective that will aid our everyday growth. You get them right here on this show. And I want to say thank you so much to everyone that's been watching so far. Thank you for subscribing. And if you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just tap the button. Tap it. It doesn't hurt. Yes, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for liking, sharing, and your comments. It keeps the conversation going. Well, as you know, we are on the emotions series. And I would say welcome once again to where we discuss emotions as it affects our everyday growth. Today, we want to look at another angle that deals with our emotions and how it reflects in our everyday interaction with people. And that is the part of emotional vulnerability. What is it? How is it applied? And how is it abused? That and more you get on today's episode of the Princess Amarachi show. So sit tight, go nowhere. So I know when you hear about emotional vulnerability, the word that strikes more is that part of vulnerable. And I know vulnerability tries to expose weakness or exposure to danger. But hold on, that's not what I'm talking about today. When we're talking about emotional vulnerability, I'm talking about being as open and genuine as possible as you can in your relationship with people. So think about that friend that always tells you, I don't know this. That person is being as vulnerable as possible. Or that friend that tells you, I'm actually scared or I'm nervous. That person is being as vulnerable as possible. Or that friend that tells you, I like your clothes. I like the way you do things. The person is being as open and as genuine as possible. That is the angle we're looking at. And how does emotional vulnerability apply to our emotions and our interaction with people? Firstly, the goal of emotional vulnerability is to be as authentic, as real, and as genuine as you can be with people. So maybe we have to change the statement now, because I know the vulnerability is hitting us left, right, and center, to being emotionally authentic. Trying to express your emotions the way it is. You understand? Not because you want to please people, but because you want to be as genuine as possible. Now, in the past few years, the aspect of vulnerability has been raised by a lot of people, businessmen, storytellers, relationship counselors. Every aspect and every sector has tried to use that particular word, vulnerability, in trying to promote communication, intimacy, or genuineness or authenticness in every aspect of their lives. And that is why it's very necessary for us to discuss this, because it deals with our emotions, not just as those who are displaying it, but also with people who are receiving that vulnerable part of you. So vulnerability comes in different forms. It is as little as the admiration you give to someone for something the person does, or as expressing your dissatisfaction or sadness with something, or talking about your past failures and mistakes. So it spans across every aspect of your life, to love, sadness, happiness, joy, grief, anything you can ever think of that is in line with our emotions. So why is it important to discuss? This is because, firstly, when you are vulnerable to people, you're promoting a sense of intimacy, not just a sense of intimacy. Vulnerability increases your intimacy with people, the people who or with which you're vulnerable to. So think about your dad. When your dad comes to you and he's tried to tell you stories of what he did in the past, whether his success or his failures that are actually true. It begins to resonate with the stage you are in life. And you begin to say, oh, my dad is a very sincere person. You connect with him. And when next you find yourself in a particular scenario, he'll be the person you most likely run to ask for help or seek solution, because you feel he's going to be as sincere as possible. That is what emotional vulnerability, or let's put it this way, emotional authenticness does. But I want to stress that vulnerability comes when we are not concerned about pleasing people. You understand? So it is not something that is supposed to be stage managed. It is a life that is supposed to be lived. It's trying to own your emotions and walk across it in your relationship with people. But don't you think that people see vulnerability as a turn-off? Sometimes. So when does it become a turn-off? Firstly, it's good to state that everything in life works with modesty and moderation. So if I say, oh, it's actually very good to express yourself, to talk about things, to say how it is you're feeling or how the thing is, it won't be so balanced as to letting you know that there are certain situations and certain degrees to how vulnerable you can be. So how open and sincere you will be to your parent as a child or to your child as a parent differs, or how open and vulnerable you can be to your boss as an employee or to your colleagues at work actually differ. So think about it as a turn-off when you come to the meeting and because you are upset with your boss or you're dissatisfied with the way the management has been running, and then in the management meeting where they are discussing serious issues, you just blow up to say, I don't like how the management is running, and begin to rant. It becomes a turn off because people are like, can't this person just hold herself or hold himself until when it is necessary to open up? So you see, sometimes it can be a turn off and sometimes it can be a turn on or promote your relationship with people. So I'd like to get your view on what emotional vulnerability is for you, and if you think it's necessary for it to be applied in our relationship with people and in our interaction with people. So it's actually a broad topic that we can't exhaust in just one episode. I had to give this background so you're you're very well informed of what we're going to be discussing. So in the next episode, we're talking about abuse of emotional vulnerability and other angles that we need to look into when it comes to that aspect of saying that I'm vulnerable to people. Yes, thank you so much for being part of today's episode. Don't forget to keep living within to without. And hold on. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this episode to your friends because definitely they need to know what emotional vulnerability is so that when next someone says it, they won't be at lost or think the person is talking about one weak fellow or the other. Trust me on that, it will help. So, see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.